Hello, welcome back to LIVENODING. In this episode, I want to share with you this breakdown of Node 3 creations. I call this kind of like a Millennium blend. I think it's probably still like work in progress, but you have seen me making something similar, just with symmetry. It's a little bit like ink blot, um, and it's actually really simple. You can make unlimited variations of this design. It is actually just like just random strokes being generated. There's a few variations. Actually, I made a lot of layerings. This was actually inspired by 2992 Daiki. What's his name? Daiki Tsuneta. I like his artwork. That's he created using music compositions, but it needs to be like collaborative projects. My version is just something a little bit simpler at the moment. It's just like a random things, just like random color, random strokes. But I like this one because it's even though it's random and it's just like random strokes, it's showing the process. There's like a growth happening there. That's because I'm using this build modifier. But before that, I think I draw the stroke, and then I use build modifier so I can draw it. So let's take a look at the stroke anyway. So I like the process. It's pretty simple. I think I have the count of the strokes here, and then the seed as usual. And I think I used mesh to curve and resample curve. Where did I start actually? I can't remember. I think I just simply use like a random vector value, and not this one is actually the second process. I think the first one is this guy over here. So count, seed, resolutions. So curve, random curve value. Okay, it's just random. You can actually use another method is to use the user stroke. Let the user draw something on the screen, and then you bring that in, and then just randomize further curve to mesh. And I'm using this delete geometry, so it's deleting the strokes, deleting the random strokes into different pieces, and then using mesh to curve, and then just another randomness, and then do some resample and add some noise offset, and then set the spline type to NURB so it's like smoother. And yeah, turn it back into mesh because you want to use build modifier. So every 100 frames is regenerating. Supposedly I think the seed is changing every 100 frames, but I have to do it manually anyway in this case. So there is also a second geometry nodes, which is this one. The second one will mesh it to curve, resample it, and give random curve radius. It's all the basic stuff with oh yeah, okay, this one is kind of interesting, using the spline parameter. Okay, I didn't actually use this one because I'm using the build modifier, so it's doing the job for me. So actually this one is really simple, but the result is quite interesting. I like the endless pattern of something that looks like ink blot, and on top of that I have this camera with line art. So there's a line art that's continuously generating in the background. So I like that kind of randomness layer on top. Maybe this could be even better with some random texture pipe into this. I could hide the original object. If we use the collections and then just put this guy inside the collections and then hide it, and it's gonna look nicer just with just the line art. You can actually have this kind of view as well. So this one is wireframe, but with this X-ray being turned off. But if you like simplicity, this is probably what you want. This one, see, I'm using the geometry and object info, piping all kind of randomness. So I could actually have different variation. Let me show you. I could duplicate this guy and randomize the seed, and each one of them will have different color. So it's like, yeah, just like an ink blot. So endless variations. It shows like a growth, and yeah, it's a bit chaotic, but it's also a lot of controls in the parameter. It's not, this one is probably too simple, unfortunately, but yeah, I wish it could be like a fluid simulations, could be more complex in terms of setup, but it's just like a randomness that creates like a interesting ink blot. It looks slightly beautiful, maybe if you want to call it that way. But yeah, I think you can play this one with this music maybe, but it's probably copyrighted, so I shouldn't. Maybe you can play it yourself. So anyhow, hopefully you find this interesting and useful. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.